Hey everybody, I'm Doug and this is OSRPG. Welcome to our character introduction video where we'll be meeting Hannibal Wagner. These intro videos are small vignettes about each one of the characters in our story. You can watch the other intros at our YouTube channel. After that, you can check us out live on Twitch. With all that out of the way, please sit back and enjoy the story. Hello everybody, I'm Doug. I'm going to be the storyteller for the evening and I would like to introduce you to...
Hi, I'm Michael. I'll be portraying the character of Hannibal Wagner.
Hannibal sits in a room. He's grown pretty accustomed to being here, having spent now several months worth of nights existing. It is not small basement with a partition that has divided it from the rest of the miscellaneous things that end up in basements, lost or forgotten or just disregarded. The room he sits in is austere, and you realize now that you look upon what few things you have and realize the emptiness that has accompanied you in this place. There's a contrast as you look at a box that you recently acquired. A box full of numbers and reports, all perhaps containing a truth that you need to find, but frighten you. On the top of the box, you see a picture framed in a silver frame with a patina of age encased within it is an old picture of a man standing next to a riverbed with his son, presumably. They are holding up a fish. You remember that day. It was a happy day. It was one of the few memories you have. And now, like the other pictures, there's a loss there. You realize that these other pictures of your family share that in common now. You can't help but think about whether or not the importance that this one picture, a picture that has been there and meant this for almost your entire life. Whether or not these pictures will be all you have of these people. It kind of occurs to you the irony of sitting in an empty room that only contains a small fragment of who you were in a box that was left in a closet of a place that you once loved. Underneath the pictures is newspaper clippings containing more questions and answers. You feel over a terrible hunger, a yearning. Perhaps it's you. Perhaps it's just a memory of you, of who you once were. You feel that yearning to find the answer, the truth. But you know that can't be tonight. Tonight is for other things. What do you do once you finish looking through your box? You know that you have an appointment tonight, that somebody's coming.
Hannibal wipes away the tears. He puts the pictures back into the box, trying to hide them away.
Mm-hmm.
He closes the laptop that's probably sitting open on the bed that he's just been sitting on while looking at these pictures. Probably searches of places and things.
Mm-hmm.
He slowly gets up and takes the box and tries to hide it. Looking for space, probably in the closet first. Under the bed, any place where it would be out of sight, someone else wouldn't see it or notice it unless they knew what they were looking for.
You're able to find a space. There's the room was set up in a kind of a haphazard. There's a room dividend out of that makes basically a small space out of this basement that separates it from the rest of the area. But there's one portion of it that's not, I mean, they didn't complete it. They just put up a wall with a little entrance that overhangs a curtain, a daylight curtain to keep any exterior light out. But the wall of the cellar is not finished. So there's like a desk there and exterior things that they couldn't move, or that were too cumbersome. You can easily stuff it in amongst the other things that have just kind of been left there.
Sort of hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Sure.
And you know that these things were left behind from the previous occupants, so...
After that,
mm-hmm.
He'll walk out of the basement,
Mm-hmm.
presuming it's night, of course, having woken up, and he'll walk upstairs. You
climb old rickety staircase. The foundation of this building is remained intact. From when it was built originally in the mid-20th. Old rusted pipes, things like that. The wooden crinks, and you exit the cellar to a small. Well, it's more cramped, not small. So, there's bookshelves that are rowed up, and the space is only really enough space to get through for one person. It's a pretty wide room, but it these bookshelves go from floor to ceiling. You see that many of the bookshelves are still empty. But there's boxes there, cardboard boxes that have been like kind of stacked on top of each other that you have to kind of maneuver around. As things are still kind of working their way into place through some sort of organization method that you have you can't even begin to decipher.
Yeah.
So, but you come out of the bookshelves area, and there's a small window front of the bookstore. You see off to the right-hand side, at the foot of some stairs that lead up to the second floor, which is above, like sort of not completely covering, like the second story is like an alcove, like a balcony sort of area that kind of goes all the way almost to the front of the building.
It's like a loft.
Yeah, like a loft, actually. Yeah. Exactly. You see a small table with a desk light, and there sits an older man in probably his early 60s, you would guess, although you don't know his precise age. Anatoly, your good friend.
You had said that he's up above, is where his desk sits?
Well, his desk is at the foot of the stairs, so...
At the foot.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's kind of like this, there's just like this little area that's been sorted out as the check stand / office area without any room. It's kind of like, books stacked up and things like that. It's looks pretty messy, like, or disorganized, I should say, not really messy, but like... And he's kind of sitting there, and he's got this book in front of him, and he has some glasses, and he's kind of got little like tweezers, and he's kind of looking over this like what looks to be a pretty old book. Yeah.
I presume the shop hasn't been actually opened yet, with the books still being in boxes, etc.
It is open, but it's not like. A lot of the shelves haven't been stacked up, so like he hasn't had a whole lot of business as people come in, like, and they don't, they don't see anything on the shelf, and they assume that he's not open for business or something, or he's just like, "What do you need? I could help you," but like, they kind of, there's no way to browse, so people don't really hang around for too long, and he doesn't seem to be too interested at like really filling the shelves as much. Just kind of leaving the boxes in front of there and be like, "Oh, it'll be good," Of
course.
Mm-hmm. He looks up. You would make you wouldn't be like, because you have a natural way of moving that kind of, you've realized over these last couple of years that you are a little quieter naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't necessarily pick up. You have come almost kind of like this sense about these things, about where the shadows play and they hide you. And
I'll a distance away, across the room as I came up. If you didn't hear the door, I'll have sort of knocked on a bookshelf.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like I'm knocking on a door as I'm slowly walking towards him. In this, presumably at this point, it's sort of a familiar thing.
Mm-hmm. He looks
so
up.
that I don't frighten Anatoly.
Yeah, he looks up and he's like, "Oh, you are awake. I found this copy I purchased. I think it might be one of my most valuable books in this collections."
Hannibal will walk over and look at the book he's talking about. Not touch it or anything, but just so he can actually see it.
It looks... It's an old leather-bound copy of Dostoevsky's Brothers Karamazov, written in what looks to be maybe a French.
Where did you find that?
Oh, I've had since coming here, I had many people that I had always written contacts, these sorts of things. And I told them I was in market for a new collection, and I got it for a pretty good price. It's in relatively good condition. I don't know if I'm going to sell it, though. This is a good book.
Is that French?
Yes.
I didn't know you spoke French.
Yes. Many peoples, Russian people, during the time of Dostoevsky, spoke French. This was published after death. And according to the dealer who sold it to me, a good friend of mine, it was lost during World War One. So the fact that it has been recovered is remarkable. They found it in a chest up in attic somewhere in England or something. I don't know the specifics. Amazing the things you find that have been forgotten, yes?
True.
Have you ever read Dostoevsky?
Can't say that I have.
Oh, everybody should read Dostoevsky. He is one of the greatest writers that has ever existed. Not because stories are... There are other great storytellers. It's because his stories, his writing has layers. There's a never to an end to Dostoevsky and what he means. It's almost like he never could reconcile his own questions, never could find the answers. You don't just read Dostoevsky. You live with Dostoevsky. You feel his pain, his outrage, his questions, his pain. I think I give you book.
I don't speak French.
Oh no, I'm not going to give you this one. No, no, Johnny, no. He gets up and he walks over to a box. I've been thinking since, well, we may not be spending as much time with each other, that of which book to give you. And I did not know that you had not read the greatest writer of all time, so... And he pulls out a dusty copy, written in English, of Dostoevsky's The Possessed. He hands it to you. He's, the word possessed, English translation is not quite accurate. It is more like tormented, or obsessed, maybe. But story is good. This is where you begin. After this, there are others you must read. Yeah, Dostoevsky is not a single story, a single book. You cannot just... You must explore his soul, much like he was. He's exploring himself.
Among the list of other books you told me to read, how high does this one sit?
Well, I would tell you to read Crime and Punishment, but this is very common thing and big book, and everybody reads it first, and I do not think that this you start early. Dostoevsky wrote this after serving sentence in Siberia. He was standing in a line and waiting to be executed, at least he thought. He had gotten caught speaking politically at a meeting of friends, intellectuals, and he'd been arrested, and the Tsar, Nicholas, allowed him to think that he was going to kill him. And then he sentenced him to 10 years in Siberia. When he came back, he was changed, of course. I think this is appropriate. We must all begin our journeys by uncovering new pains and healing old ones. I think you are possessed. Do you respond to any of that, or like, he just kind of harumphs and, hands you the book and kind of goes back to sitting down? I mean, he doesn't look like he's like, I need silence or anything like that. He's just,
Hannibal's being respectful of the weight of his words, Anatoly's.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just silently listening. He knows it's something that, or at least he can tell that it's something that Anatoly is very passionate about. And although there's an obvious vein that resonates with Hannibal in the story and the connections, he presumes that Anatoly specifically chose this book and this story, trying to make a point about that.
Yeah, you're correct.
And so it sort of leaves him without, not to say a retort, but without anything to say, but to just let it sit.
Mm-hmm.
Hannibal will take the book and start thumbing through it, respectfully.
Yeah.
And then, as it seems like Anatoly's returning to the other book, Hannibal will walk towards the whatever serves as the kitchen, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Okay.
He'll, remembering those pangs of hunger, he'll find wherever they secretly stash the blood bags.
There's a small refrigerator upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then he'll head upstairs then. And he will basically eat his breakfast in a sense so that he's not worried about losing control with everything that's going to be happening. Potentially.
Yeah. You walk upstairs and you find the small refrigerator that's situated kind of amongst, like, if downstairs was disorganized, this upstairs is just a disaster. Like, there's boxes everywhere, you know, there's a doorway that leads into, like, the apartment area that Anatoly is kind of resided, but there is a kitchen area that's kind of exposed to the rest of the room. There is an industrial grade refrigerator, right? There that keeps everything at extremely cold temperature. And off to the side of it, there is basically this extremely large animal pen with, like, just lots of rats, and then on top of it, like, there's gerbils, and you get the kind of smell of animals in the room. He has, like, a little fan that's kind of blowing the smell, and has like a couple Christmas tree, you know, Febreze sort of things up against the cages, you know,
like a car freshener sort of thing. Yeah. It
looks like, you know, he's Anatoly strikes you as a person who has his own way of doing everything.
Yeah.
And he's very thrifty. He's very, he'll just like, oh, this will work here, and you know, kind of has. It seems completely weird, but it's kind of effective. You don't know why it works. He has, like, that magic about him.
Yeah.
But you find in the refrigerator several bags that have been prepared and feed. And for a moment, that terrible hunger subsides to the barest of whispers. You feel the knot in your stomach kind of unclench, although you still feel that low heaviness that never seems to go quite away, deep within the pit of your being. You finish, and you hear the door chime, the little bells from the front door.
Well, Hannibal's drinking, you know, I presume there's some, not to say that it's anything comical, but, you know, straw or something like that. He's been upstairs. Yeah. And he's drinking from the blood bag and starting to read the book.
Okay. You're reading the book. You don't have much time to really get into it. You just start reading the first couple of passages, and the doorbells chime as the person who you are waiting for arrives. In through the door strides a man with a shaven head, a very trimmed goatee. He's wearing a blazer, a black blazer. He has a white shirt, like a button-up, but it's kind of loosely unbuttoned. Underneath it, he has a sleeveless, undershirt that shows and exposes various tattoos on his skin. You recognize him when you came here. He was the person that met you. And you've also seen him come here before, although you've only spoken with in the brief, introductions. You recognize his name as Nikita. And he was also the one who helped sort out Anatoly. And seems to be kind of the person. He's one of the few people you've met that is a part of the blood. He walks in and surveys the room. Him and Anatoly speak in their native Russian. And then
What are they saying?
He's like, hello, how are you? How's business going? Anatoly's like, it's going okay. I presume that he's upstairs. And he's like, good. Do you continue walking down the stairs, or do you want to observe the conversation for a little longer, or?
I will come down the stairs.
Okay.
Sort of shutting the blinds to the windows as I do.
Okay. Nikita looks at you. He speaks he actually has an extremely, he's trimmed a lot of the accent from his voice. Mm-hmm. He, from what you understand, he's been here in the U.S. for quite a long time.
Yeah, so that would make sense.
Yeah. Hannibal, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Anatoly, can we get a moment, please? If somebody comes in, I'll let you know. Anatoly looks and quietly shuts the book and puts it into a little safe right next to the desk and closes it, and then goes upstairs. Very quietly, very respectfully.
Well, Anatoly's doing that. I'll have walked past the man and have flipped the open sign to close, drawn the blinds, etc., and then lock the door. Not in any threatening way.
Yeah. You just okay. This is
maybe even instead of it saying close, maybe it's a "we'll be back soon" sort of, that sort of thing. Maybe he went to get dinner or something.
Yeah. Right? While he does that, while you're doing that, he kind of draws the blinds a little bit.
Yeah. That's basically what I was talking about. Is we draw the blinds and do all that.
He turns to you. He's like, "She spoke to you?"
She did.
I know she can be unclear, but you understand what you need to do.
I am aware of a target. That is all.
I see. I don't know why she plays games with you. I would not do so with my child.
I presume she's testing as she always does.
Well, that would make sense, I guess. But it was her decision to embrace an outsider.
So that would mean that her testing me even more, I presume at least, would make sense.
I don't pretend to understand her. It's just curious to me.
She is an enigma.
It's putting it delicately. I think she's a pain in the ass, personally.
Yes, but she has perspective.
My position here is clear. I've been assigned to you. In an advisory capacity, of course. You won't get as many hidden innuendos from me.
If this is the will of the blood.
It is. It is normal for one who is, well, going to be trusted enough to embark onto their own, even for a temporary time.
I can only presume this path I've been placed upon is by design.
I tend to think that, well, there's only two types of people that can design us or God. And since I don't believe in God, I don't tend to trust anything other than our family. So, we will trust that it's by the family's design. We haven't had a chance to speak. We will not be speaking much, mind you. I'm very busy.
Such is the way.
I still have concerns about your loyalty. It would be natural for a person to return to this place and suddenly start questioning things.
I am aware that I was not brought here for my personal pursuits, and I will keep those things in check, as I have been asked to do.
You know that your particular position is delicate. I think if there's anything I understand about what the blood wants, and the reason why you are doing what you are doing, is perhaps to give you a measure of leverage. To prove yourself. In the eyes of others. If you have any questions, ask them. We're going to leave.
Why did they assign me to you?
I am the least trusted by the tower.
I see.
I was not affiliated with the others before they met their end. But that does not mean that I was not viewed like an enemy in some regards. The tower does not keep me within its circles, and hence it is easier in many ways for me to stay hidden from their supervision. I was also not a part of their ordeal.
I see. She mentioned an other side.
Yes. There's a long history here. You would do well to learn it. I do not have the time, but there was a war that happened. The tower would like to pretend that it owns everything within the city's limits, but it does not. Its authority stops at the river. On the other side where you will be going, someone else is in charge.
Who is this other person? Or is that for me to find out when I get there?
I will tell you only her name. The Red Queen. What you make of that is up to you. You would do well to respect her power, though. If you are to make an enemy of her, don't do so lightly. And be careful.
If you are my handler, what would you say I do next? Or are you simply my informant on the outside?
I will help you with your living situation. You are not going to be residing here anymore. That is the first thing we must do. I will help you with assistance, information where I can. Although you must understand that I prefer my anonymity, but it comes at the cost of not being able to know everything that needs to be known. I am also instructed to help you with furnishings?
Of course.
The target is on the move. We do not have much time. Come.
Do you have further orders of what I'm supposed to do with this target?
We can discuss that while we're seeing to your furnishings. Anatoly! Then you hear Anatoly repeat, and Nikita says they're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And, he walks over, unlocks the door, walks outside into the rain. Kind of fall rain has set in and cast a sort of second layer of darkness as, the streets fill up with water. And he gets into a car with you. We can, as he's leaving, he's gesturing for you to follow, and he's, we can talk in the car.
I will follow him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He gets in the car and he drives. Not a very long distance, but while you're driving, it's, Anatoly's bookstore is located on, the very northern, tip along the coast, of downtown. So it's kind of like a more, rundown part of downtown. It's right next to a very older marketplaces that now service kind of tourist attractions. It's built into very concrete retainer wall, where there's like several buildings have kind of like old buildings. There's like a line of these old buildings that either have been renovated or abandoned or other things. It's a very long drive as he drives you down to further down into like a row of just like storefronts that are kind of just situated as a little closer to the bridge that provides access to the eastern part of the city where you will be going. He pulls up along the drive in a very narrow like parking spot that's kind of arranged vertically with the sidewalk, and he gets out and goes to walk in. He's like, would there have been any sort of conversation like on the way there perchance? Would you have any more questions, Hannibal, or comments?
The questions I had, he had answered so far or left unanswered. So I presume pushing him further on those questions, he would either answer them in time or it wasn't something he was willing to say. So Hannibal will quietly sit in the car, unless, of course, he says something and
he'll be like,
answer.
Get out, like.
Yeah, of course.
And he walks into a old furniture store, right? It's like not like a high-end, or box store or anything like that. It's like,
it's like a mom pops.
Yeah, like old antique. It says antique furnitures, Richard's Antique Furnitures. And he walks back and you see basically this sales floor that is like with blue, crappy, cheap carpet, and a linoleum walkway on the sales floor. There's like just not, and like it's they had set furniture out. There's all this old chairs and beds and things like that, but they're not like really arranged in a way that is showing their qualities. Things are kind of dusty. It's kind of, the windows are very dirty, and the place has kind of like that flea market sort of vibe, like like as far as the cleanliness of the place.
It probably has that like old sort of dusty smell that you get in old stores too.
Yeah. There's a glass display case, that's empty, and a guy sitting on like a little stool in front of a really just bare bones cash register, and he's sitting there watching this like TV. You don't know what he's watching, but it's something foreign. You think you hear some sort of like Eastern European language. Could be Russian, but you don't know for sure, because it's the audio on the small, like, it's color, but it's like so garbled and like you don't even know if he's listening to it, but he's sitting there watching and he's smoking, and even though it's illegal to smoke indoors, he's just sitting there smoking. And Nikita walks up to him and he's like, George. Like, guy looks up, he's like, we're here for decorations. I think I might be able to help you. Are you in for old-fashioned or new and modern? And while he's like waiting for Nikita's response, and Nikita's like, modern. I want people to be able to see the versatility. It needs to be comfortable for my friend here. And we're looking for a good fit. George is like, okay, come this way. And he gets up and he walks back behind this beaded curtain, and Nikita and you follow, presumably.
I presume Hannibal's gotten used to this sort of thing over the years.
Yeah. This is kind of like, and he walks back, and there's a storage room that's just full of shit, like personal shit, and and in the very back there's like a kind of like a sliding door to the like sort of back, like maybe an alleyway or something like that, but like a storage room that basically he opens the sliding door into this storage room. And in the storage room there's a row of old closets, like antique closets, and he gestures for you to enter, and he closes the thing, and he turns on the shop lights, and he opens up the closets, and inside is a very modern like metal foam carrying cases, like wall displays of knives and pistols and rifles, and very much like in the assassin, the assassin's closet that you see all the time in movies.
Exactly. Yeah,
he kind of starts opening them up, and Nikita looks over and he's like, pick what makes you comfortable.
Hannibal will walk up, start picking through them, checking their actions, feeling them in his hands. He's like pulling them up, checking them. At one point he probably has 2 pistols, and he checks to see how quickly their slides will move, whether they've been cleaned or oiled or not, or if these are off the street old weapons.
They're kept in really good condition.
Okay.
They're maintained.
So this is top quality.
Yeah. There's nothing military grade.
Sure.
But
I presume that. Yeah. Hannibal will probably have set aside a few 9mm pistols, and then if he has it, presumably a rifle of some variety, just in case.
Okay.
Of course, with magazines and ammo.
Yeah, all the things that you may need. And like it's all. So once you're done, Nikita looks over and looks up to you. And by this time, George, sorry, not Jorge. That's Spanish for George. Yeah, George leaves. And Nikita looks over at you and he's like, I think the target should be pleasantly surprised. Are you ready to redecorate?
I think so.